Hello, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm a little confused about the time for tomorrow. Sorry, Wednesday.
Do you have a pencil up your ear?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what it was.
So I'm starting to grow horns.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
No, because Anna said maybe 8 o'clock, and then she said 7:15. So it sounds like she's getting earlier. I want to make sure you guys still sleep.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that our routine is that we wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
I go walk a little bit, here around here, and then the workers come around 8, sometimes earlier.
Okay.
So and she just go to the house and figure out. So
okay.
I'll let her decide, because I'm here always, but she's like coming
all right
and going.
So she said 7:15, so we can do
Okay.
that too. So
let's figure it out during the day, and yeah, definitely we need to meet.
Yeah.
And pray and.
Exactly. How's the teaser trailer coming?
Oh, it's coming along fine. I think, as I mentioned before, my problem was to know what I was going to do, and that was kind of like, it always stressed me out to try to find out what am I going to do.
Yeah.
But once the idea is there, I think
then it's just making it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, just making it happen. It just flows faster. And now Chris wanted to change the words, the poem, or the prayer that I wrote. Yeah. He wanted to make a few changes there, and that's what we're working on right now.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use some more material from the hospital, because there's not enough material from the hospital with the other actors.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to put more of that there, but we'll hope it's ready for this week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I think Chris wants to use it for something. I don't know, something for next week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we're in a period of time where it's good fundraising, especially in the States. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's is like the prime time. So actually, I haven't talked to Chris about this, but I'll mention it to you because I think it's a good idea, and it can probably be done without a lot of extra work. It might be really good to have this teaser trailer in English and Spanish.
You mean the prayer that would be in Spanish too?
Yeah, exactly.
So not just subtitled.
By the way, I haven't talked to Chris about this at all.
Uh-huh.
I'm just mentioning it to you because if you think it's a good idea and it's easier to do now, do 2 audio versions, so you have that flexibility. We can ask him, but I just think if we're going to I want to be able to share this film, to market this film all through Latin America, not just the USA, but like everywhere where Anna's worked well, and I think it will also help us for Navidad en Guerra.
Sure.
Because this will be like a test drive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For us to so anyway, those were kind of some thoughts I had about it.
No, I like it. I like the idea, and I think it will definitely help us as a probe for Navidad en Guerra and test the waters. And yeah, I subtitle it in Spanish, but maybe it is a good idea for Chris to say the prayer in Spanish too, and just have the 2 versions.
It's not a problem for Chris to say it. It'll take him 10 minutes to do another version. So
sure. Actually, I think he records it in his phone. So I told him that his piece and his, the popping, I could hear the popping sometimes. So I asked him if he could record it with a better mic with someone, but I don't think he has that.
I think he can just do it with Jared in the studio. I mean,
Maybe.
Jared knows how to do that too.
Yeah, and Jared might have a better microphone, I guess. But I'll try to work with what I have, what he sent me.
Yeah.
And if it's too horrible, I guess he gonna have to record that with a better mic.
Yeah, I mean, that should be, even if he uses an external mic on his iPhone, it would be better than using the built-in one.
Probably.
Hello, Dr. Wright.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Mr. Hyde.
That just sounded like a very bad Peter Sellers.
I sound
Or
like
that sounded like a very bad Steve Martin trying to do a very bad Peter Sellers.
yeah, like the Italian accent that Brad Pitt, the Brad Pitt's character has to make in Ungrateful Bastards. That I think that's a very funny scene. I don't know if you remember that. He's trying to portray an Italian to be able to kill the Nazis. And he speaks like an Italian, but he does it terribly. But anyways, your hat, it inspires me to try to speak French.
That's a fine thing.
Yeah. Nobody else is here yet. Greg, how's the rollout going with the social media stuff? Are you seeing pickup from other people, or after we had some of the help from the from Allison and other people?
No, not really. It's I wouldn't say there's been any significant change.
I posted that last Instagram thing to LinkedIn, and I got a lot of traction there. I mean, at least a lot of viewers. So
The only thing I would say is different is that the interaction level has been a little higher. And I think that's just been due to engagement from cast and crew members rather than from anything resulting from the intern push.
yeah, and that's, by the way, one of the reasons I copied you on that email about the extras was for that very reason. I'm trying to set up something that will get as many people involved talking about the film, because they want to tell people that they're involved.
Yeah.
So to kind of generate that. Pato, what I want to do, which we should probably also do for Navidad and Guerra, is I want to list extras in the IMDb credits too, and we're discussing a way to do that. Not really good to put them in the cast, but we have a category of a special kind of thanks. And the idea is to not just do that, but to tell them that they're being added there as soon as it's there, so they can create buzz. Tell other people about it, because everybody's going to want to get their name on the site.
And people love to do that. I was an extra there, and then they just start like telling everyone about it.
So is there a mailing list of list of emails for all the extras?
I'm not sure there is for all of them. I have a list as we were working on it. I can ask Diane too, if she's got some. I was, all the time we were getting applications from extras, I was adding them with their headshots and email addresses and stuff. But I don't have a final list, and I think Chris might have that. Jared, we're talking about the extras.
Yes, extras.
One of the ideas was to add them with the special thanks credit to IMDb, so that we can get them excited to share their stuff on social media and get some guerrilla marketing taking place, since we don't have a budget. A budget for marketing. We have to do other things. So
So if any communication goes out there to them, encourage them to tag Let Me Have My Son on the various social media platforms.
actually, do you have a paragraph blurb or something that we could just employ for that?
I could put that together, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause what I would also want to do is I want to give them add kind of a link to a donate page too, so their friends can know how they can give money to the film. But if you could highlight the hashtags that we really want,
Yeah.
that would be super. And you can send that to me, and I'll incorporate it into something, which will probably go out between shortly after Thanksgiving, I would think, because that's really good time for giving. So, yeah. Thank you, Greg. That would be a huge help.
Yep.
So, Jared, how's it coming on the?
Mr.
blog?
Nair, how's everything going?
Yes, hello. Do you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, because I rerouted all my audio in my laptop to edit with Chris remotely. It's going well. We spent the majority of last week just watching through many of the scenes that we shot, leaving notes, trying to really get a big picture of what's usable footage, what might not be, trying things on for size. So yeah, in that sense, it feels a little slow going because we're not getting a lot of editing done. So I'm feeling a little bit antsy in that regard, but it's still important. I mean, we do need to watch through everything at some point. And so that's about where we are. Honestly, it's just a lot of reviewing and trying to make some plans based on what we see and what we hear in the footage.
Yeah.
So,
And you have, I mean, in many cases, you've got 4 or 5 takes, so there's a lot to look at.
yeah, and the very first scene that we shot on the first day was a large scene. It was a large group of people. Every camera angle has about 5 or 8 minutes of just rolling footage.
Yeah.
So multiply that times 30.
Yeah.
and it's just a lot to go through. So I've just now started, the end of last week, I started actually editing that scene. And so and
Any
with
happy accidents?
happy accidents, there may have been a couple so far, little snippets that we feel like, oh, we could use that to mask this cut, or yeah, I mean, there's always, that's why I don't mind when they keep the camera rolling sometimes, even after they yell cut, because sometimes you just get a moment
Sure.
where you go, oh, I can use that. If I don't take the audio but just the video, I can use that cutaway. That's a good natural response or something. So
Sure.
I'm leaving notes on things like that too. Yeah. How's the trailer coming?
Oh, well, I think we're almost there. I was telling Brian that the most difficult thing is that to find the idea of what the piece is going to be. So I guess we established that, and it's just a matter of using more of the shots that you send me. By the way, I was going to ask you, those scenes that you send on the 2 scenes that you sent, is that's what you guys want me to use, right? Anything there? Or is it more? That would be my question. Is there more that you're gonna send, or
that's a good question. Honestly, what we sent was there may be a couple of moments. Chris was thinking just in terms of shots, maybe some of the moving shots that we have. But honestly, those aren't, I'm not sure that there's something in there that is really going to be that powerful. There are other scenes coming up that we haven't edited yet that probably would have some better footage.
okay?
And I guess, honestly, it might come down to just talking to Chris directly and asking him, what shots do you have that you know you want to use? And maybe we can just send those the name of the shot to you, and you can use that moment.
Sure. It would be faster if you
Yeah.
if you guys say we would like this particular shot
Yeah,
in there, and they just put it in there somewhere.
right.
But I guess it generally is there. Chris was recording the prayer,
Mhm.
and that he said that "grant me" would be a better word in English than "let me have."
Mm.
And we talked about that. And I said, well, it's your prerogative, but I think "let me have" it is playing the words of the main title, so I think it works.
Yeah.
So he sent me some recordings, but I noticed, and I remember that you said that it sounds pretty good, as you said. I mean, he's recording with his phone, I guess, but
Mhm.
it sounds pretty good. But I think there's a little bit of popping in some
Yeah.
words, so I don't know if he can later on record that with a better mic. I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, I think we would want to do that. I even have a studio I can set up here with a good microphone, and he could come by and just
All
get
right.
a good clean recording. Yeah, the iPhone is it's deceiving. It really does sound good, but then it's not a professional setup, and yeah, you hear a lot of popping or a lot of other things, but it's amazing how well it works.
Yeah.
Even for some final audio in a pinch, you can get by with it. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm not quite sure how much attention I'm supposed to be giving the teaser. If Chris is expecting me to feed you information, I've been trying to feel Chris out on that. I'm here to obviously to like, if he told me, hey, I want you to work with Pato today and get those shots figured out, I'd be like, okay. But for now, I've just been editing, I'm trying to focus on the film itself. So I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
We might need to just sit down and all three of us just say, okay, here's what we need to do to finish the teaser. What information do we need to give to Pato? And maybe just all three of us work together to find those shots or something, which I'm happy to
Sure.
do. So
How
I
big did
guess-
you say that he needs to do a re-recording of the audio?
It might. I mean, I told him so, but you guys decide once, I send it to you and
Do you have
hear
a
the audio.
good mic there, Jared?
yeah, I have a professional shotgun mic, which works great for voiceover if I set it up just right. So I can create a voiceover environment that it's like 98% of
Yeah.
spectacular. So it would be good for this, plenty good.
Okay.
So there would, we wouldn't have to go to a different studio or something. I could create something here.
And he mentioned he wanted to use it for something next week, right, Jared?
Yeah, I believe he's
Some
talking
event or
about,
something?
I think it's tied to a newsletter. I want to say, I think he was hoping to send it out for the December newsletter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Chris thought he was going to join us for this call. He said I was a little confused over the weekend. He kept telling me to let you guys know that he wasn't going to make it. But then earlier this morning, he just texted me and said he'll come, but he'll be delayed a bit. So honestly, he might join us anytime. And maybe he can give some more insights into the schedule of the teaser.
Do you have any information about how it went at ICVM?
Yeah, we spoke last week, and he was pleased. He thought it was a good experience. He, as you know, he's pretty hard on himself when it comes to showing other people his work when it's not finished. And he said he just felt very naked in front of people, that feeling. I don't know if he said exactly those words, but that's what I understood.
Are you guys talking about popcorn night?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And we showed the scene that we cut together where a lot of the scenes from Mexico, where we were able to add in the scenes that we shot in September, the group scenes, what really is happening in the film during those times. And from my perspective, it cut pretty well. It looks great. It looks and sounded great, enough to show. I mean, granted, there were some things missing, but it wasn't, I didn't think it was a catastrophe. I mean, I thought it looked good, good enough to show people a preview. And but the problem is you have voiceover from a year and a half ago with those Mexico scenes where they don't share the same tone as what was performed in the group scenes that we shot 2 months ago. So tone in his voice shifts really quickly, and little things like that people, as long as they understand it's scratch voiceover, and maybe it pulled them out of the emotion just a little bit, but not enough where I thought it was that bad. Obviously for the film we'll fix it, but for previewing. But overall, yeah, he said that it was a good experience. He's really glad he went. And sounds like there were a lot of new people at the event this year, as opposed to all the regulars that usually come. Granted, I think a lot of people couldn't come because of international traveling and lockdowns and things like that because of COVID. I know for a fact some people from Australia that just couldn't make it because they couldn't leave Australia or something. So, but anyway,
that's good to know.
Where was the event at? Atlanta?
Wasn't it in Florida?
Florida?
it was in Florida.
Oh, okay. So he was there then. He traveled there.
Yeah, he went. Yeah, I was thinking of going, but I ended up getting sick the same week. I was so sick that week. So even if I had registered and booked my tickets and everything, I probably couldn't have even flown because I had symptoms I didn't have COVID, but I had symptoms like COVID. So, I don't think I could have even gotten on an airplane. So that was interesting.
Yes, interesting times. It's getting very interesting here too. I don't know what kind of news you guys are getting about what it's doing in Europe. Germany, the rates just skyrocketed, and the big thing now is Austria came up with the first decision to make the vaccinations mandatory. I'm telling you, you're going to have huge social unrest about that.
You're going to have huge what?
Social unrest. There'll be protests galore.
Yeah. Romania has been pretty crazy as well. Of course, we get the news every day from Romania, and it's been bad actually. People can't go into stores. They sort of made this law that you couldn't really do anything without being vaccinated, even though maybe by law it's not mandated yet that you have to be vaccinated, but they basically said you couldn't go to work or school or shopping or anything. You can't be out on the street for more than 2 hours a day or something. Like you can't be out in public for more than 2 hours a day. Little things like this that you just ask, like, what in the world does that have to do with that? Or, how is that going to help anything? It's interesting. But I think, for instance, churches are still meeting and getting together. And so I don't know, a lot of times, especially in Romania, they make these laws, but then sometimes they're not really enforced, or they just sort of, they fall away, they disappear somehow. But like we were there in the summer, and we were there when things were very open and just sort of normal, other than maybe wearing masks inside and things like that. But after we left, came back home, just a few weeks later, it started getting just crazy
Mm.
with the mandates and things.
Lloyd tested positive for COVID.
Mm.
I haven't, he said his symptoms weren't too bad, but a lot of people have long-term, you know, sense of smell is gone, or there's some weird thing about dizziness or something, you know, that happens 6 months after the fact, people still have it. So,
Yeah, that's been our experience. We had it a year ago, and my wife still deals with taste and smell. And she's the main cook in our house. So we learned over time, you know, nothing against my wife's cooking, but it started getting a little saltier than usual. And we learned that it was, she was like, I don't think I can taste salt like I used to. And, you know, it's like when you're eating, you know, you don't want to say anything because she's, you know, it's just, yeah, the food's great, honey. And meanwhile,
so
it's
a
just,
side
it's
effect
like,
of COVID has been high blood pressure, but it's not from the disease, it's from the cooking side effects.
You're too
Yeah.
nice, Jared.
so
I
no,
wouldn't behave like that. I would say, "Hey, this is too salty, man."
oh, well, you're a how do you say, a Latino, right? Like from you're from the Latin culture, right? Yeah.
You're real
Yeah, I know.
subtle in that way. You know? You're a nicer person than I am.
Yeah,
Did you just say, honey, are you trying to preserve me longer? So I'm
yeah, right. So and once we figured that out, then it was like, you know, she'd always have me come and taste something, and I would say, oh, it's great, it's perfect. And she'd say, isn't it a little bland? No, it's just right. I was like, okay.
Couldn't be any better.
And now she has her, you know, her gauge is like this now. She's okay, if it's here for me, then it's right. So it's so interesting. It's weird, this illness,
That's
how it
really
messes with your brain, you know. It's just weird.
Yeah. Okay, well, at least we don't have to do any more shooting under those conditions, and that's a good thing.
We caught
So your target date is still, I mean, for the finish of the edit is still the 15th of January.
absolutely, we're still, if you ask me if we're on track, I would say
I intentionally didn't ask you that.
yeah, but that is still our goal. And our goal is also to have a rough cut around the middle of December. And
Yeah, there was also a discussion, maybe you don't have to give me an answer, but I want to raise it here. A discussion that came up when Pato was doing the very rough of the teaser trailer about coming soon, you know, the date. We had that discussion. That is a discussion we'll have to have it sometime, probably sooner rather than later is good. Just because, you know, we're going to want to be doing some preliminary thinking about who we can reach out to, because people are going to be saying when's it going to be available, and right now we don't
in
know.
the new version with changes. I used Easter in
I
theater.
don't think we'll be ready for this for Easter. I just don't see it.
2022. I just put it because it sounds good. It sounds better than summer.
Yeah, I know it
But-
sounds good, but
Yeah, but Anna might be right, and maybe we just use coming soon.
yeah,
well, we'll probably have multiple release dates depending upon where we're releasing stuff, so it's not an untrue statement to make.
Or we could use coming 2022. Or I don't know, just to
Yeah.
use it.
Anyway, Chris has to weigh in on this. I just think we don't want to force ourselves into looking like we're behind by something that we promote. So
yeah. I agree. I think spring could be dangerously a little too ambitious for this. This is the kind of thing where you'd hate to rush it out just because you put a date on something and then not be happy with the film or something. You know, I think we are finally at a point now where we can finish this film, and we just need enough time to do it right. And
I mean, we may even decide that it works out to be a better holiday release, you know, where our release is even a year from now. those are discussions I think we need to have with, I'm talking about US, not international, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think we need to make the release based upon when we think the most people will actually see it. So,
Right.
and of course, in a part of that is what film festivals will we go to? What will we do for theatrical release? All the rest. Anyway, we're getting to the point now where we need to have a serious discussion about that. So,
Mhm.
Has Chris, how do you say, flirt yet with the fact that he might be thinking that he need retakes or something, or new shooting of something this winter, or we haven't discussed any of that?
He, there's only been a couple of moments now where the transition between scenes is still unknown. There's, and we're not sure if doing a couple more shots, like if we were to go out to Sauk Center, where the last place we shot,
Like beauty shots?
kind of just maybe an angle that we were thinking, boy, if we had a close up here, it would have helped us get out of this scene better. Or, but honestly, he hasn't said, okay, we're going to go do this, we're going to
Okay,
do that.
not yet.
Not yet. He has said in passing, casually, something about going out in the snow again when winter comes to get a certain shot that he was thinking of. But so far, there's nothing planned and nothing that we noted in the timeline like this is going to happen for this to work. So far, it's working. You know, everything is cutting together. But there's a few rough spots. There's a couple of rough spots that we're just kind of so far trying to be creative to cut around it. And if it ends up that we just cut to something else completely, that might just fix it, but it might require us going to film something. But as of now, there's no plan or no clear, like list of things that we need yet. So
Cristobal has joined us. Welcome.
Hey, hi everybody.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
So where is you now?
Buenos dias.
Huh? What?
Where are you now?
I'm in my car.
Okay. No, because Jared said he thought you might call in, but I just didn't know if you were in another city or state or something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Good, welcome. We were just having some discussions about the editing and the teaser trailers and release dates. You'll be able to hear that stuff in the recording later too. But Jared, you heard, is there anything you think Chris needs to weigh in on in particular?
sounds like the conversation about a release date that you were bringing up, and how
Yeah.
that might even relate to the teaser. So maybe Brian, you want to talk about that again?
Yeah, my point was, and I think we talked about this by email, is I don't think that Easter is a doable release. So the real question is, what do we want to put on the teaser trailer?
I think we want to just put coming soon.
Yeah.
I meant to give Pato that note. Coming soon.
Otto, you're muted.
Yeah, I just, in those changes, I use Easter because it sounds good, but I'll put whatever you guys decide.
Of course, you didn't say Easter 2022.
Yeah, it said Easter 2022. Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, then that's
Just coming soon then.
one thing I did want to ask you about too, Chris, is that I had a communication with David Yates, and when you were in Florida, it sounded like you got a chance to meet together with him and with Chris Bueno.
Right.
How did that go? Is there anything that we can be praying about regarding that?
Yeah. It looks pretty much certain, confirmed, that Chris Bueno and his company, Ocean Avenue Entertainment, they're going to be distributing the film. And what that really means is that they'll be almost, in addition to distributing, they'll kind of be a producer's rep. No, just stick with distributor, I guess. But what he'll be doing is exploring every every viable option, right? Getting it on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
And just plus through his own company and their platform, his company's platform. So that's definitive.
Domestically
Details
or
have to be
international
worked out.
too?
Say again?
Domestically or worldwide?
I think it's worldwide.
Okay.
I'd have to double check what he drafted a proposal. Chris did, but we're looking right. Well, right now there are two opinions on how to initiate the distribution. Chris and his company would, in their view, want to start small with just existing resources, you know. And when I say small, I mean $1,000. And we'd all like to have $1,000 in our pocket, but for distributing a movie, that's obviously a very small sum. But his philosophy is to start small and with different test. I'll use language that I don't really understand, but the algorithms and the sort of beta testing and rolling it out and testing the waters, they'll see where it's gaining traction and where it's not, and they'll just constantly be refining it. Maybe it's like similar to sitting at the blackjack table with $100 and you start to, you know, put small bets at first, and some of them pay off and then you add more, if you grasp my analogy. The other opinion is from David Yates, who would rather go bigger. And so, of course, that requires money. And I will tell you, in a recent conversation with David, he said, let's take it to the team and see what they can do. And I don't mean this to sound unappreciative toward the people on the team. But quite frankly, most people on the team have not been successful in raising anything financially. So I pointed that out to him, and I don't want to go there. I'm not going to ask you guys again to go talk to all of your contacts and relatives. To me, that's pointless. So we're looking at this big donor who bailed on us, or actually just disappeared prior to the shooting of the final phase in end of September and October. He has resurfaced and he's reached out to David. He's my friend that I've known for over 30 years, believe it or not, but I haven't really talked to him except once over the last 12, 13 years. And he's very much aware of the project. I did send him emails and tried to reach him without success about half a year ago. And then out of the blue, he called me because, as you can imagine, I left him my mobile phone number in multiple ways, email, voicemails, so forth. And he called me out of the blue and wanted to know more about the film, wanted to know how much was required to finish the film, questions like that. But he seems to have the greater interest in talking with David because he really liked the Dolphin Tale movie. I'm not sure if he saw both of them, but I know he saw the first one. And it touched him very deeply, that movie. And so he and David have had some conversations, but then as I said, and he looked at our budget to finish the shooting and then the post-production budget. He requested it. And so we got that to him and so forth and so on. But then he just disappeared, didn't take David's calls, didn't take my calls. And over the the week or the week just passed, he contacted David again, expressing condolences for the death of Winter the dolphin.
Yeah.
You guys know that Winter the dolphin died.
Yeah, it showed up in the news.
So David will be reaching out. This is you asked, what do we need to pray about? I put this at the top of the list. Proverbs 21:1.
Yes.
The heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and he directs it as he would a channel of water, wherever he chooses it to go. So this guy, his first name is Scott. Scott is, he's certainly a king in the carnal, earthly sense. He's one of the kings of the earth. I mean, he's very wealthy personally, and he is very, very influential in world economics. And, you know, he's a king. So I think that's a very appropriate verse to direct our prayers, and that God would have his way. And I'm really content to let that go. Meaning, you know, sometimes we pray, right? But we don't really trust that God is going to do what we want him to. So, you know, we connive and strive and fret and worry as if we had not prayed to begin with, right? I know you all understand that. We've all been in that boat, I think. Certainly I have. So I'm very content to just make this a prayer in our group today, and that we turn this over to the Lord and let him channel Scott's heart as he pleases. Just so long as money comes to our film, right? Lord, do whatever you want, just make him give us money. No, I'm being facetious. Let the Lord do what seems best in his own eyes. Scott knows Daniel. He's we've known each other 30 years. He's trying to remember if you ever met Daniel in person. He's met my other 3 children in person. He knows Daniel's story very well. First question he asked me when he reached out to me several months ago, how is Daniel? That was his first question.
Wow.
To me. And so I want this teaser trailer to be included in our, excuse me, our December reflection, which will be coming out on December 5th. It's very important to me that it be there because obviously I want Scott to see it. I'll send it to him personally, privately, separately, I meant to say. But this will also be, I hope, a real spark for others to contribute financially to help us get this job done. And then the final kind of prayer request related to all of this is that at the very least, Scott would catch the vision for funding the marketing and distribution of the film so that we could roll it out in a big way, as David likes to say, going big. I'm fine with that. You know, but there's no money for that. And I don't know if you guys realize this, some of you do. I actually borrowed money and divested myself of savings to complete the filming. of the movie. So right now we're very, very low on funds. And yet we have further to go.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, add that to the prayers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You've been here before.
Of course.
And you
Who,
always,
me, worry? Like Alfred E. Newman said, I'm not going to worry. I just had a nice bagel from
yeah,
Einstein Brothers Bagels. A nice warm bagel with cream cheese. And I'm happy.
that's good. And you know, you have always pull it off. You have.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but it sounds like you're giving me credit. I don't know. I just try to keep standing, I guess.
Well, what I'm saying is that everything has come forward, you know, in the other films, and some, I guess, easier than others, but you have always done it. So yeah, be happy and tranquilo,
Tranquilo. Yeah. Contento.
contento. Yeah.
Well, let me start the prayers, and Greg, you want to wrap us up when you feel it's gone? Yeah, thank you. And if there's something we haven't mentioned that you want to pray about, just add that to your prayers as we go to. Father, thank you that we do have the wrap on principal photography. Thank you that the film has gotten made, and yet you know it's been made in some circumstances that we don't think are entirely ideal, having Chris's savings and the money that he should be having available for other things to be consumed in this. We ask you to replenish those funds, to be doing great things in surprising ways, to be working through Scott or somebody else, not just to go big for the distribution and the marketing, or even to raise the additional funds for the post, but to bring the funds in from what's already been done, which we know is not always easy to do for something that's already happened, but you're a big God, and that's what we're asking you to do. We ask you also to do a great job in giving Pato and Jared thinking about what should be done in the edit suite, particularly for this teaser trailer that has a deadline of being able to be shown by the 5th of December. Have this be a great tool to encourage people, but also to bring in funds and help us to put that out in such a way that it really becomes a viral sharing by people who know people, have something magical happen, so that this will truly multiply beyond anything that we can do ourselves. Bless the work of the hands, bless the planning, and give us your special grace for everything that's going to come after the fact.
Lord, I just want to thank you for everyone on the call, and for those who are with us in spirit that are not on the call. Lord, you tell us when 2 or more of us believers agree concerning a request we make of you. Lord, you hear those requests, you listen. That's your word, that's your promise. And we trust that that is the case, Lord, and that it's true. And we're asking you, oh God, provide what we have need of. I'm not asking, Lord, that you provide us even in excess. I mean, I could pray that, but I'm praying, Lord, that you would provide us what we have need of. Not what we want, but what we need, Lord. God, I am mindful, and the reflection that I'm writing talks about Nehemiah requesting funds from the king to go to Jerusalem and rebuild the walls of the city. His focus, Lord, was in a sense kind of narrow, right? Just rebuilding the wall. But can we start there, Lord? We'll start there. Grant us, Lord, favor in the eyes of people who can contribute. Grant us favor, Lord, and create an outpouring of resources that will allow us to finish up. And beyond that, Lord, the marketing, as Brian was praying, Lord. And I was a bit distracted, Brian. If I'm repeating something you already prayed, forgive me. But I'm asking, Lord, that you'll be working in Scott's heart and mind, Lord. And speak to him, Father. I know he believes in you, and I trust that he listens to you, Lord, and he will respond to what you impress upon his heart. So, Father, if it is your will for him to be a major contributor to this, your will be done, oh Father. And Lord, thank you for the work being done on the editing. Thank you for Jared's hard work and all the efforts he's been making, Lord, also working through sickness. Thank you so much for his sacrifice. I thank you as well with the teaser, and for Brian's consistency, Greg's consistency, and again, for everybody on the team, Silker and Leafblad and Josiah Friesen and Sabina, who I know is with us in spirit, and Diane, and everyone else, oh God, Lloyd, who else?
Everyone.
Everyone. Anna, there in Mexico. Oh God, please answer our prayers, and God, let this movie be finished to your glory.
Yes.
I believe it will. It will be a beautiful film, and I believe it will bring you honor and glory as well. People will come to you, Lord, because of this film. So here we are, Lord. Send us wind. Send us the rain we need. Grant us favor in Jesus' name.
En nombre de Jesús. Thank
Father
you,
God,
Lord.
I would like to just bring up a couple of prayer requests regarding my experience so far. It's just been a wonderful experience editing the film. Lord, as you know, there have been just countless distractions that keep popping up just in my own personal life here. And things like leaky toilets and leaky water faucets. And I still sit back amazed at how many times I've had to stop what I'm doing and fix something, either on our car or on our house, or just things that with my own family. And Lord, if there's any thorn in my side, it's not editing the film or the content that we have to work with. It's just the distractions that keep popping up. And sometimes I just feel like that is, those distractions come from the enemy so that I can't focus on work. And Lord, I pray that you would just reduce the distractions. I pray that you would just help me to be able to focus, and help me to just give me the time each day to sit down and be able to work and not be thinking about all the other little crises in my life that I have to put out those fires or else something's going to burn down. Lord, just I pray that you would grace me with focus in the next several weeks to several months here. And I want to bring up Lloyd, Lord, and help him to just beat this COVID and help him to feel much better. Help him to not have any of these long-term symptoms that we were discussing earlier in the call. Lord, just any of us that have friends or relatives that are dealing with this illness, Lord, just give them grace and give them strength to get through it. And my own parents, Lord, that just went through it, I just pray that you would help them to recover, help my mother to recover, give her the strength and help her to put some of that weight back on that she lost during the time. So Lord, we just pray for the situation globally, how it's just overwhelming many states or many nations and their hospital systems and everything. And give the leaders of the world real wisdom in how they deal with this, Lord. With so many talks of mandates and then the social recourse that happens and protests and things, Lord, I just pray that you give world leadership wisdom in how they deal with this. And I pray all this in your son's name. Amen.
Lord, I ask you for Jared, Lord, let him have no distractions and just focus on the editing. I ask you for his soul, his mind, his spirit to be completely immersed in the idea. I ask you, Lord, to grant him to connect to the source, to connect to the source of ideas, to have this idea moments in the shower while walking, while doing dishes, or right there at editing, and have those happy accidents and have those aha moments during the process. And I just ask you for his well-being and his soul and the hard work that he's doing right now, which is the completion of the final idea of the final, what is going to be the film, what the actual film will be. And I ask him to give him strength. Also for Cristobal, Lord, let him have peace, let him have joy, let him have tranquility, let him have just confidence in general that everything will be all right, that everything is going to come through. In the name of Jesus, Lord. Amen.
Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Well, everybody on that side of the planet, have a great day. Did get a message from Lloyd that I put in the chat if you want to read that. So that's it from my side. My suggestion is that we meet again on the 6th. That'll give us time after the Thanksgiving Day thing to come together and hopefully have good news to report on the things we prayed for today. But I'll send out a note and remind people about that. So all of you all,
Right.
have a wonderful break.
Have a
Yes.
great week.
Take care.
Have a good week, everyone.